I need you to talk into the microphone if you want anyone to hear what you're going to say.
Grumpy.
I mean, what do you think this is? Playtime?
Grumpy. Do I look so much shorter than you in the camera?
You do look smaller than me.
I am smaller than you.
Yeah, well, you are.
Like a giant.
Can you name 3 7 dwarfs?
Yeah.
What did you say last time?
I don't remember.
Sneezy is one.
Yeah.
Dopey, grumpy.
I can't remember what I said. It was funny, though. Dorky.
Sleepy. Sleepy? Sneezy.
Sleazy.
Sleazy. What are the 4 dwarves in our house right now?
The 4 dwarves in our house?
What the heck was that? Did you hear that? It sounded like someone was screaming. No, the 5 dwarves in our house right now. We have 5 dwarves in our house.
You, me, Kilmer, Pesci, and Son.
And Son.
You forgot about her the first round.
I did. Okay.
All right, are you ready? Let's start.
You can pick yours. What's
What?
yours? What's your dwarf name right now?
My dwarf name?
Why can't you say dwarf?
Why am I saying it weird?
You're saying dwarf.
No, I'm not.
I have pulled something in my rib. Every time I laugh, it hurts.
God, gotcha.
What is your dwarf name?
Dwarf. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Why are we doing this?
Because I think it's a cute little fun little game. Pick one for yourself. Okay, fine. Pick one for me. I'll pick one for you.
Okay, grumpy. I've already picked it.
It's got to not be one that's actually a dwarf.
Why?
No.
Okay, angry.
You think I'm angry?
Lately.
That's so rude.
The last little bit. Yeah. I'm not scared of you.
Dumpy.
Dumpy? You're an asshole.
Pesci's poopy.
Pesci's farty.
Farty.
Kilmer is
Whiny.
hitty.
Hitty. And Son is smelly.
All right, let's start over.
No. This is it. This is the good stuff.
No.
This is full of shift. Pa, 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 pa. This is full of shift. You shifted real good. This is full of shift.
I wonder if that gets stuck in anyone else's head aside from mine all the time.
Potentially. I hope so.
All right. Do you want to tell everyone what just happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's only one place to start. First of all, y'all, 30 days officially post-baby. I know it may have just sounded like we are not getting along or things are a little bit contentious in the house right now, but we're actually having a really fucking great time. Wow, she couldn't even get on the fucking train with me saying that.
I think that relationships in the, when you hit the 4-week mark after having a baby are really hard. I think that this is I remember it with Kilmer too around this time. I just think it's difficult. I'm so attached to him. We don't get as much connection time. And there's a lot of newness going on in the house. And I think it's hard.
It is important to note here that our relationship and the way that we are building this family and this home right now is very special and specific to our story. We are both home full time right now. We spend every minute of every hour of every day together. We're both working from home. There's not one of us isn't leaving the house and the other one is with the kids all day. We don't have help. It's a special circumstance, and we understand that it's not like most people's situation.
So you think most people it's easier or harder?
I think in terms of their relationship, potentially easier.
Yeah, but I think a lot of partners are home the first 6 weeks. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people get that.
I don't
leave.
think so. No.
I know people
that work at a certain type of job where you get time off if you have a baby.
Yeah, I'm saying there's certain types of people that do. There's certain people that
don't get time off for babies.
And there are people that do.
Yeah. But there are very few people that don't have to go and do anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're so lucky.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's we're checking our privilege here. You know?
Checking the privilege.
Checking the privilege.
All day long. Help me if I write one Instagram post where I didn't check my privilege.
Oh, God, y'all. What the fuck is happening in the world? Truly. Truly. Maybe it's just always been happening. and we're just seeing it differently now. I don't know. It feels like there are some revelations unfolding. It feels biblical, truly. On that note, let's talk about what just happened. Okay, we're setting up this little tent. This is our first time recording a podcast, just us. We've got 2 iPhone cameras here. We got the lights. I don't even know if the lights are set up right. That one looks really high. I don't even know if it's lighting your face. It is.
I hope you made me look good.
You look gorgeous, baby, all the time. What? I was being serious. You do look all the time. You look good all the time. Look at you. You look so fucking high. I can't believe that you bounced back like this after like 4 weeks. Not about you losing weight, but just like your glow. It never went away, you know. But that like inner fire is coming back in a new way, and it's like, oh, I missed her. You know?
Did you?
Yeah. I can't laugh too hard. It hurts. Okay. Focus.
Okay, we're getting ready for the podcast.
We're setting up the lights. We're setting up the tripods. We're setting up the things. He's sleeping. He's eating. Kilmer's running in and out. Nana's here right now. She just took Kilmer to go to the playground. They're getting shoes on. She comes running in here. There's a cord right here.
Kilmer runs in to say bye.
Straight through the cord. This light comes crashing down right onto Pesci's head.
Kilmer trips over the cord, falls, start crying. At the same time, the light comes down on us. I didn't catch it in time. I don't feel like my mom reflexes were.
You were focused on her.
Yeah, I was worried because she was falling, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's a light coming down, hits his head.
And I had that tripod in my hand, so I couldn't even get in front of it.
Second babies are a different thing. I mean, he already has 2 cuts on his head.
Oh my God.
From Kilmer hitting him.
Wait, no. 2 nights ago, you went to the grocery store. I'm home alone with both the kids. I have him strapped on my chest. We have a little ball pit that she's playing in. She's in the ball pit. And I'm like, oh, should we show Pesci the balls? Should we show him the pit? Yeah, it'd be so fun. So I put him in like a little like, you know, some like tummy time down on the ground. Right next to the ball pit, we're bringing some balls over to him. And she comes over, she gives him a little kiss. Petchy. Like, gives him a kiss, goes back to the ball pit, turns around, hand up, smacks him right on the head so hard.
He has 2 cuts.
2 cuts. We should probably cut her nails. That's like really what the point of the story is. She needs her nails
from her
cut.
nails?
Yeah, what else would it be from?
I don't know.
I mean, she felt terrible about it.
She does. It's like
he started screaming, crying. Then she started screaming, crying.
She has like cute aggression. Like she's not even really going up and like wanting to be mean. She's like, oh, and then she just gets she just like there's a limit. It's like you can't go past 30 seconds before she's like,
still so young.
I need to bite or something.
I mean, you know, it's 20 months.
Yeah, she's a baby. She's a baby. We have 2 babies.
4.
What?
5.
I'm the only adult in this house right now.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay. All right. We should also tell the story about what happened last night. First of all, I do want to keep saying this. We are doing really well. Like I'm having such a great fucking time.
That was what I was going to say earlier because things have been a little bit tense between us.
In the world, we are a reflection of what's happening outside of this house.
Tense.
The election just happened this week, right?
Yes.
There was a bunch of shit that happened a couple weeks ago that we're going to get into. But yeah, there's an energy.
I think that it's like twofold. One is just I think it's manyfold. Postpartum brings up a lot of feelings, a lot of shifts. The world has been shifting. My hormones are still bouncing all over the place
for the rest of my life.
And we have a new human in our home and in our family. And so, yes, things are more heightened, but I would say overall, we are doing really good.
Really good. Yeah. I mean, there's been a few times where if we're butting heads, I don't know, we started saying this, I don't know, maybe a year ago, 6 months ago. We just started saying we're on different planets.
No, because
we're living on different planets.
It was a while. It was when we first moved here. We were having a week that was not good. And I said to you in the middle of an argument, I said, it feels like we're on different planets. And you got so mad at me for saying that.
Really?
Do you remember this? Oh my God, you got so mad. You're like, what are you talking about? Different planets? This is such a broad generalization.
The way that you fucking imitate my voice is the exact same way you imitate all 3 of your brothers' voices. is just it's strange. It's strange to me.
And you got
You
really
do love
you
a broad
you got
generalization, though. Like every time, every chance that you can get, you just are just. Well, let's just broadly generalize this entire life and this relationship
no,
because of
'cause
one little
you
thing that happens.
you take it to a different place because I'll be like, I don't feel like you care about me. Be like, really? I don't care about you. I
Really?
don't care about
That's
you.
what you're
ever.
gonna fucking say? I don't care about you ever.
And you see, you made it a broad general.
The best part is she can never say broad generalization.
Broad generalization. This is making me laugh so much.
I swear to God, I have like a
What did
muscle
you
pulled
do?
in my rib. I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so last night we have a lot to cover, but we want to
We better
start
get
here.
to it.
Yeah,
we spent the whole first part talking about the 7 dwarfs.
Oh,
my
okay.
God,
Last
I
night,
needed to laugh.
listen,
Okay.
I'm playing a show in London, November 22nd. By the time this episode comes out, that show will already have happened. There's more. There will be info. I'm sure there'll be footage on my Instagram. Yada yada yada. So I've been writing the script for the show. I have a 30-minute set. It's my first time really playing by myself. I am putting a lot of work into it, right? I'm spending a lot of time with it. Like I have to rehearse every day. I'm just like, my head is in the game. So last night we're going to go to sleep and it's like getting closer to bedtime for the kids. And I'm like, listen, why don't you take Kilmer upstairs, put her down. I'll keep Pesh on my chest. I can sit on my computer. I can get some work done. For the most part, it's been the opposite. Mom is on full-fledged Peshy duty. Dad is on full-fledged Kilmer duty. Like, I put Kilmer to sleep every single night. You put Pesci to sleep every single night. That's just how it works in this house. Even when we're sleeping, you're in our bed with Pesci. I'm in Kilmer's bed on the floor. I haven't slept in bed with you in 30 days now.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Longer than that, because at the end of my pregnancy, I was sleeping by myself because I was sleeping so bad.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so you and Kilmer go upstairs. You get the milk. You're doing the thing. Pesci and I go into the back office. I put in headphones. I sit down. He will not let me sit down. Truly will not let me sit down to work on my computer. Now, I have my computer and my interface and 2 microphones and a speaker. So I have all these cords and headphones. So I can't really like pick up my computer and put it on like the kitchen counter to work because there's just so much happening. So I'm like trying, like I'm up and down and squatting and trying to like make these weird little sound effects on my computer while he's crying and like just like he's drama. I wonder where he gets it from, but
He's drama.
He's definitely more drama than she was.
Yeah. And then I'm upstairs. Kilmer and I are having a great bath time together.
Yeah.
Taking the bath, we're putting on our lotions, we're doing our face. She's like very into like lotion and getting ready for bed right now. I'm combing her hair. It's like girly time upstairs. The second that I put on her pajamas and she knows, okay, it's time to lay down in bed, read a book, and drink milk.
Nope.
Daddy! Daddy! Just Daddy! And I'm doing all the tricks. Look at this, play with the lights, distraction, game, tent, over here. No, nothing.
And I have headphones on, so I can like kind of hear the echo of her saying daddy upstairs, but he's going through it. And I mean, we gave it a half hour. Like I was like, we have to figure this out. And then at one point, it must have been the exact same time. Like you got out of bed, I started walking upstairs. Nope, this isn't working.
We just meet at the top with 2 crying kids.
Like, switch. No, it's pretty cool though.
And then they both went to sleep.
And then literally immediately, I crawled into
Everybody
bed.
was fine.
Kilmer has this adorable thing right now where she says undies, undies, undies. And if you're putting her to sleep, she wants to just take her foot and just put it like at the edge of your undies, so it's like covered. It's just this like sweetest,
She
most
like
adorable
wants her
little
foot,
thing,
like
in a nook.
in a nook. Yeah.
Yeah.
She like tucks it under shirts or like puts it in your waistband. It's so cute.
I like know that's when she's really tired when she says that.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I'm ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
It's very, very
Did you have
sweet.
anything like that as a kid that you remember? Well, you kind
No.
of still have. Well, you have something with your feet now, right?
I don't like wearing socks.
Do you
My
rub
dad
your
wouldn't let
feet
me
together?
No.
Who rubs their feet? My mom rubs her feet together.
My dad used to tuck me in so tight you couldn't move.
Mm.
And I remember I would wake up in the mornings and I'd be like I'd be stuck. That's how tight he would tuck you in. So you couldn't move. Which he probably had to, because I used to roll off the bed onto
Yeah,
the
that's probably
floor
what it was.
and stay sleeping. And I had a high bed.
I used to twirl my mom's hair.
Yeah.
That's like one of the first memories I have. I would twirl her hair so tight around my finger that when I would go to sleep, I would know that she couldn't get up. It was like, I'm going to keep her close to me. I'm going to lock her ass down.
Literally wrapping her around your finger.
Truly.
She still is.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Come on.
I don't know about that.
Yes. Both of her boys have her wrapped around her finger. Your fingers.
Hey, Sandy.
Did I say that right? Okay.
Let's go back. The last episode we recorded, this is the longest we've gone without recording since we started the show.
Well, we recorded like days after he was born, which
4
is
days.
a complete blur.
Total blur.
I'm glad we did it at that time, but I don't even know how we did it.
There's been so much that's happened. And we're going to try to squeeze this in. I think we're probably halfway through a fucking episode at this point. But I think we should go back because we ended that last episode on him being born, right? And us going to sleep. And I want to talk a bunch on how this postpartum experience has been different for both of us than the first time around. And I think the only logical place to start is what happened the morning after he was born. It really set the tone for the next 40 days in a way that I did not expect. If you would have asked me before we had him, if there was any possibility that this was going to happen, I would have left.
So, first of all, we keep talking about 40 days because, well, one, there's a book called The First 40 Days. You should check it out. But two, it is in many cultures, the first 40 days after pregnancy, after birth, is this time when the mother stays in, is really taken care of by other people. You don't really go anywhere. It's like this incubation period before really going out into the world. And when we had Kilmer, we were really strict about the 40 days. We honored it. I went outside twice. I mean, we were really, really inside.
We were locked in.
No one else was in there. We didn't do anything. So we anticipated that we were going to do that this time, which has not happened. But
it's still a very sacred time for us. It just is not as still as it was.
It's very different. Yeah. And I've done more because I've just felt like I needed to.
Yeah.
But whatever. The first thing that happened that kicked that off is we didn't go to sleep until he was born at 11:42. We didn't go to bed until 3 or 4 a.m. Yeah. I was exhausted. That first night, didn't sleep at all just because, I co-sleep, so I have him in bed with me. You're down on the floor bed with Kilmer.
Was up until 4 too, so she was all over.
Kilmer was awake. Everybody was just all over.
Nobody got any sleep.
And throughout the night, I was just noticing his breathing. I noticed that his belly, I felt was really moving to breathe, and I could hear his breath, and it sounded pretty rapid. And I wasn't crazy concerned, but I noticed it. And of course, newborns breathe weird.
Yeah.
They have all kinds of strange breathing patterns, but it just felt a bit labored. And then I told you about it the next morning. And then I was taking a shower, and then you're holding him, and then you're really noticing his breath is super fast.
And then I start looking it up, right? I'm like, all right, let me just throw a fucking Google search in here. And it was normal newborn baby breath is at about 60 beats per minute. And I was clocking 80, 85 a minute, right? It was quick. And it was kind of one of those things. It was listen, if you're past 70, you need to go to the doctor right now. It was
Right.
code red. And so we called Maya, our midwife, and we just touched base with her. And it was a Friday at that point. That morning was a Friday. And she was like, listen, this is kind of one of those things that I have to tell you to go to the pediatrician. The breathing, I noticed it a little bit last night. She said that, right?
Yeah, because it kind of sounded like he maybe had a little bit of fluid after he was born, but he was worked up, and he was really slow. If you listen to the birth episode, he was really slow to come out.
Yeah.
his head took so long to birth, and then he was kind of struggling, like wanting to breathe. My placenta, the cord was done pulsing like minutes after he was born because it had been working so much. So she had kind of noticed that there could be something, but it was nothing outside of normal at that time.
Right.
But then with this information, and then she was like, listen, normally I would have you like, maybe I could have you wait on it or I'll come over and listen. But because it's Friday,
Right.
the pediatrician's going to close. And if something is wrong, I don't want you to end up having to go to the emergency room and take your newborn baby to the ER where you're like full of sick people. So she was like, I would just try to go to the pediatrician. We have the same pediatrician as her kids do. So we call our pediatrician. It has been 10 hours since I've given birth. And my leg doesn't work. My right leg after I gave birth, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't lift it up. I couldn't move it. I was walking with a walking stick. It was so painful. And
I get on the phone with the front desk and she's asking me all about this insurance questions. And I'm like, listen, I just had a baby like 10 hours ago. I need to bring him in. Can we deal with the fucking insurance later? Can you just tell me what time I can bring him in? All right, 10 o'clock. Okay. It was already like 9 o'clock at that point. So I hang up the phone. I go, babe, we got to go. Like, let's pack up this car. Let's take this little blob of a child and get him in a car seat. He'd never even been in the car seat. Like, it's just a whole brand new car seat. Whatever. You get dressed.
2 kids.
We have a walking
me
stick.
trying to get down the stairs. It was so
Torrential downpour.
Torrential
outside.
downpour.
Torrential. We pull into this little, it's like a very homey type of pediatrician, right?
Yeah, it's like a little cabin.
Little cabin. Vibes. Pull in. It's raining. We don't have umbrellas. We go under the awning by the front. There's like a hole in the awning. He gets soaking wet. Kilmer's soaking wet. We're both soaking wet.
I can't walk. I'm bleeding. He's crying. Nico's trying to get Kilmer in. I mean, it was so... And just compared to Kilmer, where like I did not walk down the stairs for 7 days with her. And then this baby, like 10 hours later, I'm going down the stairs and going outside for a drive.
It was intense. It really feels like a blur.
I don't even know. I think typically if you have a baby in a hospital, like on day 3, you take your kid to the doctor, I think.
Well, they also like get seen at the hospital too right away. Like
well, they do. But then I think like you go home and then I think like between day 3 and 5, you have to go back out, which is really intense.
Yeah.
It's hard. God bless all of you.
God bless anyone. For real. I do want to note here, we are about to start an air show in our town. So if it's about to get real loud, it is not Bethany's farts. It is the planes outside.
Oh my God. You're ridiculous. The planes were flying overhead, those huge fighter planes, and scared the living shit out of Kilmer. Which I have a very vivid memory of that happening to me in my childhood and being so terrified.
Yeah. The point of the story with the doctor's appointment, there was nothing wrong. The doctor wasn't worried about anything. His breathing was totally fine. He was like, listen, if it was a problem,
his breathing started to normalize as we were in the office.
In waves, it wouldn't be good and then bad and then good and then bad. If it was, if there was something wrong, it would be consistently poor. And that's not what the case was. He sent us home, with some blessings. And that's really when the 40 days started from there. But like that really, it shifted our entire postpartum experience from that.
It's not even that it shifted it, but it was just like a foretelling, like this is going to be different.
Yeah.
And it really has been different. Like I think for me, number one, I feel way better than I did after Kilmer.
You do.
Like I felt stronger faster.
Yeah.
And not like even about looks per se, but like my stomach,
your energy
went down faster. I mean, like not like, ooh, I'm really bouncing back so quick, but like it was much longer for my uterus to like release swelling than this one. I noticed.
You just got stronger quicker.
Yeah, which I really thought it would be the opposite way. I've like felt more energized. And I've been really itching to get out of the house and get to spend time with Kilmer, as we've talked about quite a bit. I've like had a hard time, not getting to like be as close with Kilmer. So I've really been craving that. At 3 weeks, I took both of them out of the house to the coffee shop, to the library, and the grocery store. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking.
By yourself.
By myself. I had fun, but I was definitely like bleeding more the next day. I'm sure I overdid it.
Yeah. Well, how else has it been different for you, just in terms of like sleep and breastfeeding and
everything? Okay, so before I had him, I was very nervous about going from 1 to 2. I was nervous about going from 1 to 2, and it was just like, how are we going to do it? And I had so many people tell me that their transition from 1 to 2 was easier than their transition from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe it, but I'm now in that club. Like, the transition has been much easier for me. And I think what has helped the most is I am way more confident and way less anxious. I have not Googled anything aside from I did one quick look at the breathing on the first day. And that's the last thing that I've Googled. And like, I don't feel like I was super anxious with Kilmer, like maybe comparatively on a scale of first time mom anxiety. I don't know that I was way up there.
No, I don't think you were super anxious.
But the different, like compared to how I am now with him, like even just like I never check what time it is when I breastfeed him.
Well, the breastfeeding has just been a completely different experience. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, with Kilmer, she wouldn't even consider a latch until day 8 or 9, right? Like we were
5.
struggling so intensely to get her to eat. We were like spoon feeding her. And even still to this day, she's just like not a food motivated child, right?
Right.
And that's just not the case with him. I mean, he's already twice the size as he was.
He's huge compared to her.
Big boy. He's already in
He's
3
wearing
to 6
3 to
months
6
clothes.
months, and she didn't wear 3 to 6 months
Until
until
6
she
months.
was 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been like just like the release of anxiety is so helpful, which also I think makes me sad for first time moms because so much of that anxiety is like some of it you have to go through, but a lot of it is placed on you. And a lot of things like I just remember little shit that you're thinking about. Like, okay, when Kilmer was born, I saw all these reels that were like, oh my God, a little hair got twisted around my baby's toe and like their toe almost fell off. And I was like, oh my God, this happens all the time. So I'm always like looking at the toes, looking at the fingers. And like, not that I don't ever look at his fingers, but I'm not like deathly concerned that his toe's going to fall off all the time.
Well, you were a little concerned about the sheepskin. You said that to me once. We had him on the sheepskin and you were like, I'm not into the sheepskin. I don't want a little hair to get wrapped around his finger. And like sheepskin and babies go back thousands of years.
It wasn't those sheepskin. It was the sheepskin upstairs and the other thing, there was just fuzz fucking everywhere.
This is a fuzzy house. We have a lot of sheepskin in
I know,
this
I
house.
was over the fuzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it hasn't crossed my mind,
No,
but it's like a different level of
Well, no, across the board.
concern.
Yeah. There's just less time to be concerned about anything, especially on my end of things. Before I get into how it's been different for me, how has just like sleep been different for you? You know, I think like looking back at our experience with Kilmer, it was so regimented, right? Like every 2 hours you were up, feeding needed to last 45 minutes, like then nap. It was just like the schedule of the day was so specific and it's just not with him.
Yeah. I mean, with her, I was like so concerned if I didn't feed her every 2 hours, 20 minutes each boob, do a full 40-minute feed, which she was not staying awake that long. So I'd be like tapping her, trying to wake her up, doing a diaper change, trying to wake her up. Like I felt like if I didn't do those things, then I had done it wrong or she was going to be broken or like something bad was going to happen, which later as you move on in your motherhood, you realize that's not the case. Yeah. And so with him, I thought I was breastfeeding on demand before. Like with him, I'm truly breastfeeding on demand. If he eats for 5 minutes, he eats for 5 minutes. Like it's so much more relaxed. And because he's not using a nipple shield like she had to use, like in the middle of the night, I would have to like turn on a light to get the nipple shield on to try to get her mouth around it to like figure out that positioning. And like now I kind of like roll over and throw my boob in his mouth and fall asleep. And
you're sleeping a lot better.
I am sleeping a lot better.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch.
Last night though, I don't know, we're hitting that month mark. Like, I feel like he's starting to like wake up more. Like, he was only waking up 2 times a night. Last night, I think he woke up 3 or 4. That's okay.
Yo, this is Sun, by the way. I don't know if everyone knows who this little rascal is. Sun was gifted to me by someone on Instagram long time ago. Yeah, someone reached out on Instagram, was like, hey, I have one too many dogs. She had like broken English, but she was like, I think I have one of your dogs. I think this dog is for you. I think this is your like spirit dog. She knew exactly what to say to me. I was like, all right, meet me in the park in 20 minutes. She handed me this.
And you know what? We think Sun is one of your spirit dogs.
Babe.
If you would like to adopt Sun, we'll meet you in the park in 20 minutes.
Cruel. Cruel, 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 cruel. All right, you got any more zingers here? You want to talk about how it's been different for you, Hotshot?
Yeah, I have a million more, but you can go ahead. How's it been different for you?
It's really incomparable. You know? I was listening to something, I can't remember exactly who I was listening to, but they were talking about how different kids can be, right? Even if they grow up in the same house. You know, you think like, I was raised with the same parents in the same house, and these two kids are, you know, incredibly different. Like, how does that happen? The fact of the matter is, Pesci did not get the same parents that Kilmer got. We are not the same people with him than we were with her. So much has changed. So much has shifted. It's literally like the entire point of this show is us being vulnerable and open about what we're experiencing in real time. But he's got different people, you know? And we just our like pace in the house, our energy, our conversations, where we live, the weather, just like everything is so crazy different than it was with her, right? And the energy of the world. The biggest shift for me is with Kilmer, I felt like it was really like a tag team, you know, you and me. Like we really like split. I mean, obviously you were feeding her and it was like a totally different workload, right? But like whenever you needed to pass her off, I was right there, right?
Yeah.
And that's just not the case with him at all. Like I spend much less time with him than I did with her. And there's part of me that feels like I know him less than I did her.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I look at him, I'm like, oh, there's a stranger in my house still. Like I don't really know who he is. And I feel like 30 days after Kilmer was born, I knew exactly who she was.
You knew.
Yeah. And I'm still figuring him out.
Yeah. I actually think, I guess the opposite, but probably for the same reason. I feel closer to him than her.
You're spending more time with him than you did with her at the beginning.
Like after Kilmer was born, if you had to leave the house at like 3 weeks, I was like, oh my God, you're leaving? I'm going to be by myself. You got to go to the grocery store. How long are you going to be? Like I was scared. And now like if you guys went somewhere, I would be fine with him.
Yeah.
You know, it really is.
Hold for sound.
Is that what they say on set?
Yep. I miss set.
It really is just such a different experience. I forgot my train of thought there.
Also, just our help around here has been different. You know, my mom has been ever present and really hands-on in a lot of different ways, specifically with Kilmer. That's been like the big shift, right? From like day one, my mission has been keeping Kilmer happy and entertained throughout the day, right? Like we still have to take care of a toddler. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult to like plan outings and like keep her active because we're still taking care of like a baby here, you know?
Yeah.
And my mom's been really helpful in that sense. Her Nana and Baba is what Kilmer calls her, Nani and Bobby. They come over a couple times a week. They like spend time with her. Nana's out with Kilmer right now to watch the two of them get as close, really the three of them to get as close as they are right now has been so fucking special for me. Like the amount of healing that's happening with me and my parents right now, watching them become grandparents.
Yeah.
has been incredible. And it hasn't it hasn't always been easy, right? Like we're still figuring out the flow with grandparents, right? Like they raise kids differently than we are. They're used to like different toys and different TV shows, and like
Yeah, that's
been an
actually
area
the hardest thing for me,
yeah,
postpartum.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And I'm so it's twofold. It's both and, because I'm so grateful that we have family close. I'm really happy that Kilmer gets to be close to our grandparents. Like your mom and dad are incredible with her. Like we're so lucky.
Right.
And it has been hard for me to like release control of other people being like fully in charge of Kilmer while I was upstairs with baby. I'm gonna give him 2 more minutes and then I'll pick him back up.
Yeah, no. I mean, specifically, we've had a thing with Elmo in the house. Okay, let's get into this for a second. Like, I don't even know how Kilmer found Elmo. I think it was probably Nana. Nana played something, a Sesame Street episode, and Kilmer. There's some like magic mind fuckery with Elmo because she became obsessed immediately. Elmo was like a thing.
Well, they did a good job with Elmo because Elmo is actually a very easy word for young kids to say.
Elmo.
Yeah.
Totally recognizable voice, the colors, the whole thing.
The whole thing. If I had my perfect world as a mother, we would be like Montessori, Waldorf, wooden toys, creative open play. Like your toys are like 3 buckets of water and spoons, and like that's what you're playing with. No screen time, minimal screen time. That would be my ideal everything. Like I want to do homeschooling stuff along those lines, and I'm ready to get out of this early part of postpartum so I can start doing that. Your mom is of a different school.
Well, just the way that we were raised, right? That's not how either one of us was raised. You probably more so than me in terms of like access, but like, the TV raised us in our generation.
Yeah, TV was always on at your house.
Always. Yeah.
TV was never on at my house.
We went to sleep. The TV was on for 24 hours, really. We slept with the TV on. My mom had a fucking TV in her front console. We had a big like conversion van. And she like rigged the TV, the navigation system in the front to cable so she could watch her. Can you stop rocking for a second, please? So she could watch her soap operas while we were driving. The TV was always on. And I became famous-ish. I used to be famous. I don't know about so anymore.
You're famous, baby.
No, but, it's been a conversation with my mom about like how we do things and what we want to expose her to, and she's actually like taken some of the notes.
She has.
Like it hasn't always been easy, but she's like taken some of the thoughts and implemented them in ways that like have been helpful, right?
Yes.
There's been like much less TV since we've had that conversation. She's like bringing more like creative toys, like fake food, and drawing a lot more, right? Like there was one day, I don't know, 2 weeks after he was born, where my mom, my brother, I guess it wasn't even 2 weeks, it was like a week. My mom, my brother, my stepdad, everyone was here in the house, right? You were upstairs with Pesci.
I'm upstairs. I've hardly gone down the stairs yet. I'm still like full postpartum mommy.
I was trying to get some work done. I'm in the back office. I come out. The TV is on in the living room. My mom's on her phone. My dad's on his phone. Rocco's on his phone. And Kilmer's just sitting watching the TV. And I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, come on. There's 3 people here.
Right.
Let's keep her creatively engaged.
And I am in postpartum haze, and anybody who's had a baby or going to have a baby, like you're going to understand this so much. Like you're upstairs, you're doing all the things with your baby. I come downstairs and it was like, what's happened to my house? Like there's different stuff in the kitchen. There's toys that normally I would not be that into Kilmer having. Like every toy is like plastic, makes noise.
Every toy. There was a handful of toys that were different. Broad generalizations over here.
But, she's like pushing buttons, lights, noise.
You didn't come downstairs for 2 weeks, so the house was different.
For a week. Yes. I'm telling I get that side.
I just get
And I'm
defensive,
telling this side.
I just want to be sure that when we're having this conversation, we are like
But you
keeping our people in the right light.
Yes, 100. I already started with that. I'm so grateful for your mom. I can only say it so many
Totally.
times.
No.
I check my privilege. I love checking my privilege. I do it all the time. Okay, so
Wait, hold on. Someone reached out to me.
hang on.
And she was like, I was waiting for you guys to get a little bit more like dangerous and like lean in and a little bit more controversial. And then I heard you say that you were tired of being down about your privilege, that you're no longer going to feel bad about your privilege. And I said, all right, they're fucking doing it. But it's true. I'm done feeling that way. I felt that way for so long, and it doesn't fucking help. It doesn't serve anyone.
No, it doesn't. I think that there is a level of like understanding that you have privilege and doing things to support and help other people.
The way the world operates, right? There's an awareness that is important.
But I don't need to feel like shit all the time.
No, I'm done feeling like shit all the time.
Okay, so I want to finish telling the story. God damn it. This is what everyone says. You talk over me. And now you're talking over me.
Everyone says I talk over you.
Broad generalization.
Broad generalization. This bitch went and read 6 reviews on PodTrack. 2 of them said I talk over you.
Well, sometimes you do, but I don't mind it. That's how our relationship is. Hang on, let me get the baby.
This is full of shift. You have more of this story to tell? There's a point that you're trying to make here?
Yes, I want to tell the story. God damn. Okay, so here's the thing. Hormones after postpartum are very, very intense. One of the things I've realized that happens with me and my hormones is shit goes on for me with moms. Like, I have more feelings about moms postpartum than I do normally. All the moms. Yeah. Like,
moms
it's just
and grandmas and moms
it's
on
highlighted,
TV,
mother
moms
figures.
in the news, yes.
All of it. It's just like, it's more heightened. So I come downstairs, finally, I'm like, there's toys everywhere. There's all this stuff. And I feel out of control is really what's going on here, is the feeling of being out of control. And I need to get back in control. So I need to like clean up the toys. I need to reorganize stuff in the kitchen. I need to like do whatever is going to give me this small sense of control during this time when nothing feels in control. So I start cleaning out Kilmer's toys. And one of the toys that Nana had brought was not working. It's a noisy toy and it was turned on, battery operated, and it wasn't making noise. So I'm like, this toy doesn't work. It was from a thrift store, to be fair. So I threw it away in the trash because it wasn't working and I had tons of toys already.
If Mom, you're listening to this, that's the first time that you heard that Bethany actually threw it out and it wasn't me. I apologize.
It wasn't working.
I lied to you.
It was broken.
I lied to you to protect everyone.
That was nice.
And I'm sorry.
All right. I'm half sorry I threw it away.
She threw out the fucking toy. Nana comes over the next day. Okay. Nana goes to go take out the trash. Nana pulls the trash can out. The toy goes, it's Elmo time.
Guess
la 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 la. My mom goes, what the fuck?
All of a sudden the toy starts working. I swear when I threw it away, it was not working.
I'm in the garage cooking on our Blackstone. Shout out Blackstone. Call us.
We love Blackstone. Oh my God. They're so good.
Nana comes outside with the bag of garbage and goes, just hits it. La 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 la. My mom doesn't say anything. Just looks at me and hits it again. La 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 la. I go, yeah. Kilmer must have threw it out. I don't know. Kilmer was playing with it yesterday. She must have thrown it out. Okay, yeah, Nico. Kilmer threw it out. Okay. I go, do you want to get it out? She was like, yeah, I do. There's pasta sauce all over it. She goes and she takes it out. She's wiping it out. She's just like, it's a matter of fact.
Through the trash, filthy, wipes the whole thing down.
It was a piece of a larger set, right? It was like a piece that plugged into a larger thing. My mom had the other piece at her house. It was like a thing, right?
It's a 90s thrift store toy.
Whatever. It was just the point of the whole thing. And
well,
then,
every time she brings over toys, she does say she's going to take them home. And she doesn't.
Then what happened was you're upstairs. I text you. I'm like, the toy's out of the trash. Kilmer threw it in. You wrote LOL. And we come inside and you hear Elmo from upstairs and you text me and you say, "No more Elmo!" exclamation point. And I go, and then after that, I said, "Mom, like, let's relax on the Elmo," because what winds up happening is Kilmer gets like an influx of Elmo for a couple hours while Nana's here, and then Nana leaves, and all Kilmer wants to talk about is Elmo, 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 TV, Elmo, Elmo, Elmo,
And doesn't want to take a nap.
yeah. So I said, hey, let's just like calm down with the Elmo thing, right? Like, we don't want Elmo to be raising our child. And it just became this thing. I really wasn't trying to make this a whole Nana episode, but it just became this thing that where like she felt really bad. Like she was like, it's like part of my thing with her. And, I like don't want to feel like that's being taken away from me. And, we both have an ability, all three of us really, to like get defensive in those moments when somebody tells us that we're doing something wrong. And it's really like not about what she is doing at all and how like we are all communally raising a child together and like
Right.
what our best practices can be. And I will say since that day, it has gotten a lot better.
It has. And, I also want to be like kids having relationships with their grandparents is really, really important. And there's research and study that shows that it is so good for the child.
The best people I know have incredible relationships with their grandparents.
For sure. And I also want to be able to like give your mom and my mom and the mothers in her life the ability to like bring toys over and have special things with them. I think like in talking with my therapist, some of what we can do is one, like make allowances because it's not always going to be the stuff that you want. It's just not. Like they're going to bring over toys that aren't your thing and that's okay. Like, and then we can also have talks about the things that we do like, as you did, the ways that we want to raise our kids and find ways to like meet in the middle, I'm kind of at a place where it's like, what are the things that I need to let go? And what are the things that I like really want to hold on to?
And most importantly, like, what are the things that you are comfortable saying to the mom figures in your life? Like, that's really what it comes down to.
That's way harder.
Yeah. Like all of them.
Yeah.
Like so much of that is just from childhood and like this like shame and guilt, right? Of like not being able to speak your mind because you were quieted for so many years, right?
Always people pleasing.
Yeah.
Needing to like be the good girl, needing to please everyone.
And to stop being the loud one in the family.
Right.
Yeah. But you've been doing such a great job. Like it's been a work in progress, but like I've seen you shift.
It's hard. It's definitely hard to balance. Yeah. It's especially hard for me to like balance those things, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, totally. Can I ask a question without being annoying?
What?
Can you just stop rocking like so aggressively?
No, I can't.
Just like soft, just like a little bit softer.
This is how he likes to be rocked.
The whole video is just going to be you going like this the whole time.
I know. But you know what?
You're making me dizzy.
Everyone who's had a baby is going to get it because
I know.
Those of you who've had a newborn, you'll find yourself not holding your kids standing in line at the grocery store.
Yeah, and
you're
rocking.
Literally like patting your leg and bouncing up and down because you just can't help it.
I'm just asking just
I
like
pat
for a little
everything right now.
Yeah.
Except
for me.
But he was crying. He was crying and he wanted to be rocked.
I get it.
I'm not going to be able to stop rocking.
Okay. You just maybe not so aggressive.
Maybe just meet in the middle. You're going to have to. Okay.
All right, let's shift gears here. We can't talk about the last 30 days without bringing up a few points here. So 2 weeks into postpartum, for what was the catalyst was we wrote a couple essays for People Magazine. We have a relationship with People Magazine. Nobody gets paid to do these stories. We knew that there was going to be conversation about us having a second child. We wanted to be in control of the narrative. We wrote these really beautiful, like heartfelt stories. I mean, they said essays, but I don't even like, it's just like how we were feeling in the moment. We pushed them together. We sent them over to people with a couple pictures. If they wanted to run it, cool. If not, all good, right? But like they were into it. That story came out. It's how we announced that we had our baby. It meant a lot to us that we were able to be in control. And it was really beautiful. Like I'm proud of those moments that we have in our life.
Yeah. And also the people that were like, I can't believe you guys announced with People Magazine. It's so disingenuous. Like we got some shit coming back about that. See, he wants to be rocked.
Okay.
And it makes me that made me really mad because one, you can announce your birth however you want to announce your birth. And two, like people actually don't understand how it is. Like if we just wrote Instagram post, it would be picked up by people and by Us Weekly and by whoever else. Like that information would be picked up and then they get to tell that story or use it however they want.
The second half of this
they get to take the words and put it out however they want.
Yeah.
And instead, we went straight to the source. And then there's people being like, "Ew, I can't believe you did that." And it's like, truly, fuck off.
It's part of the machine, y'all. Like we are part of the system. We're proud
exactly. We're
of
part of the
story that
system.
we're
It's better to work
telling.
with it.
Like we are promoting home birth and the way that we are parenting and the way that we are creating life, and we're just giving people a voice that like don't necessarily always have that level of exposure. And yeah, fuck off. We're proud of what we're doing.
To get to talk about home birth on like such a big level like that, like it's, I don't know, whatever. It just made me mad.
It's not the like overall consensus that people were pissed off that we did that. There have been tons of people that have been really supportive, right? But it's like always the few comments that are,
it's always the few comments that stick out over the big ones, which is so frustrating too.
Speaking of people taking control of the narrative when you aren't necessarily involved, what wound up happening was that People article ran, and then 2-3 days later, some queer publications, I think it was Queerty was the first publication, picked up a story about the podcast Full of Shift and the first episode that we put out, Gender and Identity Shift. And the headline of the article was Nico Tortorella announces his new pronouns are he, him, his. And it went over to Instagram and whatever. I don't need to like get into all of this, but basically there were a lot of people who I have known throughout my life, that were guests on my first podcast, The Love Bomb, that came on and just like started saying not the nicest things, right? We don't need to repeat what was said, but there was a group of people that started coming for me, right? Both on these on these Instagram posts, in my DMs, and I reacted pretty quickly. I like took a screen grab of some of the posts. I put it on my story. I was like, I said a few things when the bullied become the bullies. I was defensive. I said a few things, but like with love also. And then there were articles that started coming out about how I reacted to what was being said about me. And it really happened very fast. And like, I understand that the majority of the world never saw any of this, right? Like, I'm not saying like, oh my God, this was a huge news piece that was all over the place. No, there were a handful of queer publications that put this story out, and it didn't feel great because they were like kind of cherry picking some of the language from the first episode, making a story out of it, not being in control of the stories that are being told about you, right? That's kind of like the point of what we're getting at here. And it hurt, I like was pretty sad about it. Firstly, because like I've had to defend who I am since day one of having this conversation. And again, I'm not saying that for sympathy at all, but I'm just in a different place. And, there were people online that like even listened to the first episode in ways that we said was going to happen, like exactly, that some people were offended by the way we had the conversation. It just became this fucking queer spiral of sorts.
The same people who are saying shit about you using he, him pronouns now are the same people who had an issue with you using they, them pronouns then. It was like you could not win. And the stuff that was being said was not right and not respectful.
Just mean. Mean-spirited. Yeah.
It was about me too, about us, about like just all of it. And it's like the inability, I think I commented this somewhere, but like, first of all, the definition of fluid is fluid. You don't say one freaking thing. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And like, this community fights for people to be able to like be identified how they want, use the pronouns that they want, and yet you're not able to. You can't have that shift.
Right. It really just comes down to like the gatekeeping and policing that we talked about in the first episode. There's always someone waiting to tell you you're not doing it right. And I don't think being queer is something that you can necessarily do right. And it's disheartening, you know. I like still in 2024, we're still having these conversations that don't make anyone feel good. The person that is saying these things doesn't feel good about it, right? Like maybe in the
Right.
moment they feel like they're fighting for something, right? And like a group of people, but it's not a good feeling. I am not happy about it when I'm in response and in defense. And also 2 weeks postpartum, right? This is like a very sacred time. It became this like infection in the house. I was thinking about it all the time. I was having conversations with people about it. My book agent, my publicist, like all of these people got involved. I mean, even to the point that like I was outside having a conversation with my publicist and we were like in it. We were like going at each other about the ways in which this unraveled in the world. And I hear a splash and I turn around and Kilmer had fallen in the fucking pool while I was having this conversation. And I like threw my phone down, got in, grabbed her. She was in the waterfall of 2 seconds, but still, it was like, if that not was a fucking moment of God being like, hey, check your fucking priorities here. Like, this is what matters. Not this like bullshit conversation that exists in an echo chamber that only a community of people see. Like I'm tired. I'm tired of this version of the conversation. I'm tired of having to defend any part of who I am to anyone. I don't fucking care how you feel about me for the most part. This is what matters right here. You know, the conversation that I had with my publicist was like, listen, we need to get ahead of this. Like, let's control the narrative. Let's release some sort of statement. And I really spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to say and if I needed to say it and who I was actually defending myself for. And, is there like a fucking like really simple, you know, few paragraphs that I could write that really explain this. And ultimately I decided I needed to put something out. I put it out in the world, kind of like wipe my hands of it, and I'm done, dude. Like we're gonna continue having versions of conversations around identity for the rest of our lives, right? Because like once you kind of open that box, you can never close it, right? But like we said at the beginning of this entire podcast, a shift happens. Like we are not the same people that we were 5 years ago. Nobody is. And I think this week, given this election, like it has proven that there is massive transformation happening in our country and in this world. And even more so after this week, what matters to me most is taking care of myself so I can take care of my family. And anything outside of that, and also so we can even potentially talk or consider building a community and taking care of each other, right? Like that's what we're doing here. You know, I know like talking about the election is complicated. But I think we're at a place where family is more important than politics. And I think that was proven to us here in this country this week. I think a lot of people voted for their families first. And it'll be interesting to see how everything unravels and what transformation is actually coming and how the world can come together, right? Like we are dedicated to unity, and there's enough division in this country. There are enough people fighting, even insular, like inside of communities, right? That's kind of like the point of the conversation we were having earlier. We want to bring people together, and you know, some conversations are harder to have than others, and some we are just going to like avoid entirely because it's just not our conversation to have. I know that you have really strong feelings about all of this, and I want to stop talking to let you get in and say what you want to say.
I mean, yeah.
Broad generalization.
Well, I guess just going back to all the stuff online, I felt very frustrated because the publications that were saying things, it felt clear to me that it was very much for likes and clicks and comments and Discord. I mean, if you even look at like their average comments on other posts compared to the comments on this post, like you blew it out 10 times. So of course they wanted to say those things. And yes, they definitely cherry picked headlines. They cherry picked things that you said.
My identity is cherry picked. That's really what it comes down to.
Yes. And they left out way bigger parts of the conversation that we had. And that was really sad to me. Like there was tons that they left out. And also,
there was a bunch that we left out of that conversation too. FYI, we only talked for an hour. This is not an hour-long conversation, right?
100%. But like they left out the pieces of us talking about bioerasure and us talking
really
about,
what it comes down to.
You know, our love for the community and that, you know, everyone has their own path and journey. Like, of course they're not putting in those things. And it was also like right after we had a baby. And those headlines about your identity started coming out because we were in the press about us having a baby. And I just like, I know that this is so specific to myself. Like not everyone thinks this way and I probably can't expect it. But I just don't think that people like hold postpartum in reverence anymore in the way that they should.
Well, it's impossible to unless you've had a child. It's impossible to even consider that this time is sacred unless you've experienced this. You know, and for the most part, the majority of the people that are commenting and writing these articles don't have kids.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it should take having a kid to understand the reverence of postpartum, but sure.
To feel it, to truly understand it on a visceral, kinetic level, yeah, you need to experience.
I mean, even just like the calls, like then it was you needed to write this statement, which is not an easy thing to do. Like it's not like you just sit down in 5 minutes, you write something and it's done. Like it's days. It takes lots of people looking at it. You want to say things the right way. Like nothing is perceived correctly online. Like it's a hard thing to do. It's so many more levels than what people understand. And so then you're having to think about writing something and everyone's calling, you know, during bedtime, like when we're trying to get our baby down and when there's another baby crying in a bassinet and I'm trying to take a shower and I'm bleeding everywhere and like changing a pad. And it's just like, can everyone leave us alone for a second? Yeah. Like, I just felt so violated in so many ways. Yeah. And I turned off, like, I didn't read stuff because there was also a lot about me that I just did not even step into. And I turned off my ability for people to like mention me in a comment, which reduced some of it. But I was just like, I turned off all the Instagram stuff. Like I was just like, I can't take this in right now, nor should I.
Right. And also there were a lot of people that had our back and were supporting us and, you know,
yeah, this isn't a pity party.
Yeah, it's just not.
We're saying that because there's somebody. We're only saying this is not a pity party because there's someone out there that's watching this right now that's like, oh, poor you guys, you had to deal with a few comments. Like, we're saying it's not a pity party to mitigate that shit.
No, I'm also saying it because the people that are listening and watching this that like do understand what we're doing and came to our defense need to be recognized.
Yes.
Like, your language in this conversation is the most important, right? Like, that's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about supporting each other, how we show up for each other, and not paying mind to the people that are so fucking sad in their own lives that they have to come for other people. It's really what it comes down to. All of these comments, they're not about me. They're really not. They're not about you. If someone's coming for you, like these fucking haters, I know it's like, you know, the most basic thing to say, but like, it's not about you.
It's not, but it's also so hard not to, when you have 1,000 comments and articles coming at you, like it's hard not to feel like it's about you.
But also, like, keep in mind, right? Like, especially the LGBTQIA plus community 2 weeks ago and now was terrified of what ultimately began to unravel in this country, right? Like these articles were written and like, people were really scared and are really scared. And
Yeah.
that like needs to be recognized, like even more so it made it easier for me. Like, you know what? This isn't about me, right? Like it's easier for someone to come for me right now than it is to come for the fucking, deep state or the state of our country, right? Or a side that you may not believe in, that you think is one way or another. If I need to be that for somebody, like, bless,
Well, you're a good person.
I try to be. There's part of me that's not. There's part of me that wants to fucking cut heads,
Right.
Like, I'm a scrappy Italian first, and it's my job to protect you and our
Yeah.
kids. And I will cut a fucking bitch first. That's my first instinct. And then I am able to take a step back and recognize that people are hurting.
Yeah.
People are in a lot of pain right now. Some of it's warranted, some of it not necessarily. Time will tell to see what exactly unravels in this country. But it goes without saying that people are really, really scared. And this whole week, I have been living in this state of perpetual, unconditional optimism. Like, you know what? All right, these things happened. This is democracy at its finest. People made a choice. This is what people want. Best case scenario. Let me just like paint the best case scenario. What are the greatest things that can come from this? I'm going to live there right now, It's so easy to paint the worst case scenario. It's a lot harder to find the good, a lot harder. And I'm doing that here for me first and for my family. So I can do it for my family. Somebody's got to hold on to fucking hope here. You know? How are you doing?
Okay, I decided pretty early on that I could not be invested in the election and manage postpartum simultaneously. Just can't do it. And I think that that's okay. Not everyone would say it's okay, but I really think it's okay. I think you have to like protect yourself. And this is a really, really vulnerable time. It's a time when a lot of people fall into postpartum depression, when baby blues take over and like you're not okay. And I can't go there because I have to be able to be there for my kids. So, a lot of the election stuff, like I held at arm's length. And that's kind of where I am right now.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I think that's where I needed to be.
Yeah, and that's okay. That needs to be celebrated.
I was actually really disappointed about like our local state elections.
Yeah.
Both abortion and marijuana were like big reasons for me to go to the polls.
Majority won in both of them. But they needed 60%.
They needed a super majority, which was 60%. And that was like really frustrating. Right after that, like the abortion piece was not overturned or was overturned. I think it was not overturned. Anyway, whatever. It didn't pass. Someone like on Instagram was like, "Oh, still feeling good about your move to Florida, babes," with like an eye roll emoji. Yes. And I was like, yes, we are.
I love it here.
We Truly. Love it here. And also, like, I moved to a place where, like, my vote on those issues actually matter. Yeah. And, like, the idea that, like, you're sitting in your, progressive blue city looking down and snubbing all the other red states or something, like, it's just such a weird concept. I'm like, theoretically, I'm doing the work more than you are simply by where I live. And how I'm voting.
It's true. Florida has never felt more like home than it does right now, especially after the election.
2 years, it goes back on the ballot and like we try again.
Yeah. That's what a democracy is, Yeah. And we do not live in hate and fear. That's really what it comes down to. Like I refuse to surrender to the man or to the masses, Also, it'll be really interesting to see what happens in Hollywood because and through all of this. But that's a whole other conversation entirely. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that happened is Missouri's abortion ban
Right.
got overturned, which
Mhm.
is my home state. So there was like a little bit of silver lining in that. Also, I read up on Florida's abortion ban, which is not as strict as I thought it was. I'm not saying it's great, but it does like preserve the life of the mother
Yeah.
and some other exceptions.
If you want to have more elaborate, healthcare conversations about women in this country, I fully support that. I think you should do it with some guests. I think there's like plenty of people here in Florida that you could talk to and have the conversation with. I think that'd be probably pretty good for the show. It'll be interesting to see how we are really able to continue navigating full of shift with guests, given the political climate at this point. Like, it's been weird for us, even at home, to just like talk about what we can say and what we can't say, right? Like what is deemed appropriate right now and what's not. Someone like posted on one of our pages that, I don't know, someone saw that one of us liked an RFK post or something, and like,
And then they were like, "You liked an RFK post.
are
Are
you
you
MAGA?
full MAGA
Yeah,
now?"
yeah, right.
Which is a jump
And
in my mind.
just the way that we like create these villains in the world, it just doesn't serve anyone, and I think we're excited to like have more conversations about health and like what can be unpacked in this country, and the progress that can be made. And there's not one right way to have this conversation, nor is there one hero in these conversations or one villain. Like, I think it's gonna be interesting for us to figure out like what conversations we can have, how we're going to have them, who we're going to be having them with, and really who they're for. And we don't have all of these answers right now.
Yeah, and can we agree in the conversations? I was pretty set that I wanted to have no political conversations when we did this podcast.
But I think that's impossible.
I know, but I would like for it to be possible.
There's just no way. I mean, look, if we didn't have a podcast, it would be very easy for us to not take a stand on anything on social platforms. We made deliberate choice to extend our minds and voices to all of you. And given where the country is going and where it's been, right? This isn't fucking new. Let's like be clear. This has been going on for a long time, since the beginning of civilization. It would just be impossible to have honest conversations about who we are and what we're experiencing without relating it to the state of the country. And we don't know exactly how that's going to go, like I said, but we're going to do it with all of you. And we'll figure it out, I do just want to say one more time, like, if you're going through it right now, we are here with you. We're not here to make anything better or easier necessarily. If you're feeling all the feels, experience it. And what I said online is, to feel is to be alive. To feel so fucking acutely is to be a human being. You are human being human. Thank God we can feel anything at all. So many people never even consider a feeling. Sit in it, learn from it. There's medicine in all of this. Whatever side you're on, right, left, right, in the middle, fucking diagonal, up, down, red, blue, green, all the fucking things. There's medicine in it, yeah? And there's medicine to look at the other side. How can we come together as the United States of fucking America? All of it is USA. All of it is USA. All of it is USA.
All right, babe.
Some people got offended that I put that on Instagram. They were like, what the fuck does that mean? Yo, come on. Like, I'm just like,
Everyone has something to say.
just like some like jerk off poetry, guys. All of it is USA.
All right, are
One
we
more
done
singer.
here?
No, one more.
What?
Stop quieting me.
Oh, you think I'm
Please,
quieting you?
My language.
The last 30 minutes was only you talking.
Not true, baby. I've asked you, and you've actually like wanted to avoid answering any of these
That's
questions.
not true. What the hell? I've said so many things.
That was rude that you just said that. The
I
last
don't
30 minutes
mind
was
that
me
it was you,
talking.
but you said one more zinger, you're quieting me. So because you said I'm quieting you, I'm expressing that I am in fact not quieting you.
We are a reflection of the country.
Do you smell that fart from him?
No.
Oh my God, his fart stinks so bad. You guys smell like farts.
Okay, one more question for you.
Yeah.
We got 10 days left. First of all, I'm sorry if you thought I was talking too much in the last.
I didn't think you were talking too much. Again, you said, I'm quieting you. And I said, no, you've been talking for 30 minutes. I don't mind you talking for 30 minutes, but don't say I'm quieting you at the same time that you talk for 30 minutes.
Oh my.
Kilmer. You didn't do a good though. She like that. She's so cute.
It's the best. Being a parent is the best thing in the world. It's true though. Like our kids are so young and we're experiencing parenthood at the same time that all of this is happening in the world. And it would be so easy to just like feel so down and get depressed and like, how are we going to raise kids in all of this? Like the more challenging response is to put your family first and to like live in the joy that is home and love and family and bask in the light of God, really. Okay, we've got 10 days left, babe. 10 days postpartum. What are your goals here for this last little bit of 10 days? No, for real.
Well, I sort of feel like I'm already out of the 40. You know what? You're leaving right at the end. How soon are you leaving?
On the 19th.
We need to do some preparation. I'm a little bit nervous about.
I leave in 10 days.
Yeah. Because I'm still figuring out like, just like the dualness.
You're leaving it exactly 40 days. That's crazy.
No, I know. I'm still figuring out just like how, you do like newborn and toddler bedtime at the same time.
Right.
And like, I think figuring out that piece, obviously it can be done. I know people do it all the time. I know I'm so lucky to have you here all the time. So everybody back behind your screens, chill the fuck out. Yeah. I'm feisty today. I'm realizing that I actually have like a bit of some pent up anger about this.
You got some stuff to get out.
Yeah. But it's still like it's new, and anything new is weird and hard, and I want to like figure out some of that more in the next 10 days.
Okay, one more question. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
How excited are you to get pregnant again?
I'm so excited to have another baby.
It's like we're for sure having more kids.
Definitely.
Like
this cannot be my last little baby I'm holding. Oh, little babies are so amazing. Oh my God.
I mean, like it took a week for us to be like, okay.
No, as soon, like within 3 days of having him, I was like, oh, we're having more.
Yeah.
Which we knew.
For sure. But like even still.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we're not done. I am not in the least bit excited to be pregnant again.
Yeah.
I am like loving not being pregnant right now. I think that's actually why I have such great postpartums, and like why typically my mood is pretty great, is because even when I start to feel down, I'm like, at least I'm not pregnant. Am I rocking too much for you?
Thank you for joining us today.
Wait, just like going, like just my belly feeling empty, bending over and just picking up something, no problem.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's so cool.
It's cool.
Rolling over in bed, drinking a bunch of water before I go to sleep at night and not peeing all night.
Watching Game of Thrones without being pregnant has been more fun for you?
Yes.
Guys, we're on the last season officially.
Already. I'm sad.
It's crazy.
I heard the last season sucks though.
It doesn't suck. It's just...
I saw a Halloween costume of someone wearing a trash bag that had a sign on it that said last season of Game of Thrones. And then I got really sad. I was like, oh no, is it going to be bad?
Lol.
But the last episode, a dragon just turned into it's like a dead dragon.
Yeah, Walker.
Yeah, Walker dragon. Flyer dragon.
All right. My name is Nico Tortorella.
I'm Bethany C. Meyers.
We love you so much. We love doing this. We're doing this for us first, selfishly, and our kids. But you're next. the community that we built online and the people that are showing up for us, like it's really just been so special, and we're really just getting started. Like we knew we were going to keep this really intimate. We started at the end of our 3rd trimester recording.
Baby, I feel
We're
like you
getting
say
out of
this every
postpartum,
episode.
and
no offense.
we're gonna go explore. We're gonna have more
But,
people
like,
on. We're going to LA.
you've
We're going
said
to New
it.
York, and let's
Yeah,
make
we're
the
gonna
show
do more.
fucking
We're gonna bring on
huge.
the guests. We do it
And,
for our kids. We do it for you
living,
next.
We're living on different planets.
Bye. Hey,
broad
no more
gener-
broad generalizations.
Broad generation. Broad generalization.
Get out of here. Done.
I love you. This is full of shift.
Babe, for real, you're done.
This is full of shift. Anything to say? Nico and Bethany are full of shift.
Nico and Bethany are full of shift.
Nico and Bethany are full of shift.
Nico and Bethany are full of shift. Nico and Bethany are full of shift.
Nico and Bethany are full of shift.
Nico and Bethany are full of shift.
Nico and Bethany are full of shift.